Clan members wear all that. Watching 40 Days of Fashion, tuning in from day to day, wondering what Billy doing. Fashion money stacks and stacks. Go get y'all a go yard bag. It's the third day. It's the third day. It's the third day. Today I'm going to be teaching y'all how to do a Hong Kong finish for our third day of 40 Days of Fashion. Before we get started, make sure y'all are subscribed and that y'all like this video so y'all can see more of it on your feed. Let's get into it. So before we get started, let's go ahead and define what a Hong Kong finish is. A Hong Kong finish is when you take two pieces of bias tape and you put them on the raw edges of a seam. This is typically, any kind of seam is typically about an inch wide or a little bit more. Then you'll just take some bias tape. I have some fabric right here. This is not bias tape, but bias tape is not difficult to make. You can make your own bias tape. I just have these about maybe an inch wide to put onto the raw edges. I went ahead and made my markings, as y'all can see. Made my marking in black again, and once again it's also going to be right sides together. Hong Kong finishes are typically used for tailored garments that are not lined and they going to have open seams, and of course you don't want those raw edges to be seen. Like I said, it's going to detract from the quality, and it's just going to make the whole garment just look unfinished and unpleasant to the eye. So instead of that, in some places, they'll do a Hong Kong finish. And it started in Hong Kong and was used in fashion manufacturing. So what we're going to do is stitch on this line that we made, and then I'm going to come back to y'all. Here's my 1-inch seam. As you can see, we started from the top, went on to the bottom, and we followed that marking that we made. When it comes to marking, you can use any type of marking tool. I use this fabric marker because it'll show up better for y'all. But also, you can also use, it's more like actually like a fabric crayon. Okay, now that we have that, we can open up our seam. And this is how it looks. Now, typically, one thing I want to mention is when it comes to printed seams, when it comes to printed fabrics, you want to make sure that the patterns are going in the same direction if it's directional. And if it's not directional, it really just doesn't matter. This, I would say, like if I was making something with this, I would try to make sure that this side, either like the right or the left side, was matching in some way. So that would be like something I'll do when drafting a pattern, just make sure everything matches. So up next, we're going to do a little finger pressing. Just get the seam flat. There, and on the back we have our now 2-inch little patch in the middle. Now what we're going to do is, since we have those frayed edges, here, we're going to place one of these on top. And like I said, this is typically bias tape, but just for demonstration purposes, we're going to fold it maybe like 1/4 of an inch on each side, and then just put that in between like this. So I've sewn the smaller pieces of fabric onto those raw edges and encased them. Now they look more appealing. Of course, I didn't do it to like the other ends either, but just think about like the rest of these two panels as like a seam, and like this like a whole like garment, like say for instance like a side seam or something like that. So really no need for that because it'll be longer sides and wider, and they would have just been encased in a seam already. So you can also think about it as like a substitute for serging as well, just adding that extra pizzazz to it, because serging the raw edges is more for ready to wear versus like couture wear, which you'll do like the Hong Kong finish. It's for better aesthetics. And that is the Hong Kong finish. I know I didn't show you guys exactly what I did on the sewing machine, but it's just pretty simple. Just a regular straight stitch on your machine, down the middle of the bias tape. Make sure y'all use bias tape. Or if you don't have bias tape, you can make some from the fabric and the same one. See, it's matching. It's like really, really blended together. But you can also use a contrasting fabric. If you have gray, anything like that for like this particular color, it'll look really nice. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video here and come back tomorrow for the 4th day of 40 Days of Fashion.